Hey guys, just Jani. I was working on my floating hearts and I thought I would do a video from the very beginning. So if you're a beginner and it's your first time you're going to make your floating hearts, how do you figure out the large heart and the small heart and what to use? So it doesn't matter if you have a spoon, fork. You can use the ones with the patterns on the ends. It's going to turn out like that. You'll have the nice pretty pattern. You can use plain ones like this. I have some that have almost nothing because we can embellish those later. And then for the sizes, all the small things like these spoons here, even this fork, those I would make small hearts with, because they're kind of narrow and they're thinner. They make a nice small heart. These two, I should have zoomed in a little for you. See what I'm talking about. These two, like this, it's the same pattern, but you can see it's wider. It's a bit thicker. So I will use those for the big hearts. So now for the measurements, sorry, I'm clearly not a videographer. For the measurements, all the small ones I cut at 3.5 inches, and then the big pieces, or I should say for the big hearts, I cut those at 4 inches. So I kind of do mine like an assembly line. So I will just mark the small ones at 3.5. And then I've got two long ones here. I'm going to mark those at 4. Next, I grab my mini bolt cutters and I'm going to cut them all on that line. Now you can make these bigger. You just want to make sure it's something you can easily divide in half. So like this one, I could have made that a 5-inch long and made an even bigger heart. I just happen to like these two sizes. But if you have longer piece, you can go bigger. Okay, I don't think I would try to go any smaller than 3.5 inches because I think it would be just too hard to get it bent there. So next, I go over to the grinder and grind all these ends smooth and hit them with the fiber wheel real quick. And then I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, I have ground all my ends smooth, hit them with the fiber wheel so they're all nice. Next, we're going to go through and mark the center. So it doesn't matter which one whether you're doing the 3.5 or the 4, whatever is half. So my 4 inches, I'll mark at 2. I don't worry about the Sharpie because I run mine through the tumbler and that comes right off in the tumbler. So this was 3.5, so halfway would be 1 3/4. And that line is where we're going to bend it in half. That's this point right here. Okay, so we're all marked. Next, I'm going to use my bender press to curl the ends and then fold it in half. So let's go over there. Okay, I have a bender press, so that's what I'm going to be using. So I'm starting with this smaller pin. It is not the smallest pin. It's not the tiny one. It's the next one up. And I'm doing the big and the small hearts all on the same size. So I'm going to start with doing the ends. So I just get it so it's just got something to hang on to there. And start bending. You don't want to go too far back just because you don't want a bend right there. And I think it's better to not bend far enough and correct it after than to bend it too far and not be able to get it back. So what I mean is like this end. You can see here I have not gone, if I tip it up there, I haven't gone far enough. But if I go too far, then I have to try and bend it back out. Does that make sense? So we kind of want a candy cane shape, but we want all the curl to be on the end. We don't want any bend in here. It's tempting, I almost just did it, to go up here to get it to bend a little more. But if it goes too far, you're going to end up with a kind of a bulgy heart. So what we're going to do is grab either a nylon hammer or a rawhide hammer. I have both. I like the rawhide hammer. If you don't have one, we use these because they won't mark up your silver plate. So I hold down on my handle like a vise and just tap that up a bit. So we do that on both sides. Try to keep it straight, because if it's turned when you do it, it's going to be really hard to get that back straight. Okay, same with this one. It needs to go up a little more, but so we have this shape, and now is what we're going to do with use that mark for. Normally I would go through my whole pile and do all of this. It's just easier to do an assembly line. So I'm going to switch. This press has a square pin. Some of the older presses did not come with the square pin. You can buy it, or you can use the tiny round pin. It will do the same thing, you just won't get as sharp of a bend right here. It'll be a little bit more rounded, but it still works. Or if you don't have a press and you're just bending it, it's okay if it's round. So I made sure this was straight in here, and what I mean is straight up and down as I can get. I don't want it twisted, so I'm using this little tiny channel, and we're going to set that bottom point right on the line. We want it right on our line because that's the middle. Make sure you're on it, make sure your piece is straight, and then we can fold it together. And you'll see it's touching flush on this side and this side. That's as far as it's going to go. So now we need to bring it together. So I'm going to put my pin back in, and I'm going to slide back to this one. Because I can tell that this could have a little more curl. Compare it with one of my others. Maybe if I put it in front of it. Sorry, it's hard to hold on to. So you can see that one side on the left is good, but this side on the right, it doesn't have quite enough curl to make it. So I'm gonna do that side a little more, and then I'm gonna tap it over. Actually, I think I will just kind of tap it now. So I'm gonna bring it out to the end here, and again, use this like a vise. Pull down on the arm so it's like a vise. Let me have a look at it here. I like mine. I like the plain end that has no design to just tuck under the nice end. I'm not sure if that's focusing, but you can kind of get the gist there. So you can see I need to bring this one just a little bit more. You don't have to, if you don't have a press, you can just do this right on your counter or your anvil. Oh, might have gone too far there. So that's pretty good heart. I will bring that over just so it's touching, just because I know it's only 1 millimeter, but that's what I like. So after you get them all bent, then we're going to decide where to drill our holes. Before we move on, I wanted to show you, these are both large hearts, but you can see this one is a longer, narrower, and this one's kind of the rounded, chubby heart. To get the different hearts, it's how you curl the top. So this one, it has a really good candy cane or J shape. It's almost a perfect J. That will get you the chubby heart. To get the elongated heart, whoops, these aren't bent as far. It's not a perfect J. You see it only comes part way, not all the way up. And if I hold one over the other, if I can try to match them up here, you can see that the chubby heart is bent more. I don't know, that doesn't look like it's focusing there. Hold on. Okay, anyway, hopefully you can see it okay. But when I compare the two, you can see that the chubby heart is more curved on top. The bottoms are actually the same. It's just longer on this one because I've done less curve on top. So if you want to do chubby and long, that's the difference. So next, we have to decide where we're going to drill our holes. Now on most of mine, I have drilled them on the top of the plain side, and that's the smaller side. And then the decorative side, I didn't do anything. Now, the reason you have to decide is what I should have done, but I got in a hurry when I was making this batch. On the ones that are kind of plain all the way around, actually I should zoom back in so that See what I'm talking about? This one's kind of plain all the way around. There's not much for design on it. On those, I drill the hole in the top of the plain side, and it's going to hang this way. If you drill your hole over here, it'll hang a little more upright, but I like them kind of sideways. And actually, if I set it down flush, you can see that I drilled the hole straight down on those. But what I needed to do different on this batch that I forgot about is I did the same thing. I set it on its side and I drilled the hole straight down so it would hang like this. I should have, on these with a lot more design, put the hole on this side, because if it hangs with this side up, you'll get to see the pattern. With it hanging this way, the pattern is underneath and no one's really going to see it. Nothing wrong with that, it's not ruined, but normally I would have put it on this side so that you saw the nice flower pattern, and I forgot to do that with this batch. So that's what decisions need to be made. See, so those are done. So for example, this one has the nice flower pattern. So I want to drill on the side that has the pattern so that it will show. Let me see if I have any plain ones. This one, there's no pattern on the side, but it does have the grapes on the top. I'm still going to drill it on the plain side, because if it's hanging like this from this angle, you'll be able to see the grapes, or whoever's looking at it will see them. These have the pattern on the side. So again, on those three, I would drill on the pattern side just so that it hangs that way and you can see the pretty pattern. That's a plain one. It's plain all the way. There's a little bit of design there, but this one I'll say it depends. If you want to put in a crystal rivet on the top or the side, you know, maybe you want to drill your hole on top and put a crystal rivet on the side, or three that people will see. So decide what you're going to do with it before you drill your holes. So next I will show you how I drill my holes, and then we'll move on to how we are going to hang it and do any other embellishment. To start with, before I move over, I use a center punch to mark it. That's what it looks like. If you haven't seen one, you can get these for a few dollars at Harbor Freight. It just puts a divot in the metal. It helps mark your spot, and it helps your drill bit to keep from walking across and messing up your silver plate. I use cutting oil. So I'm kind of zoomed in, aren't I? There we go. It's just a spray can. I'm sure any cutting oil will do. You can also use wax. Let me show you that in case you don't know what it is. You can get this wax called Burr Life. It is for sawing if you're using your jeweler's saw. Some people wax their drill bit, but I like the cutting oil. See, mine's kind of messy. It pushes up like a push pop, and you can run your saw blade across it. Or if you're using like your drill press, you can push it up onto your drill or your bit. So there's that. But I do like my cutting oil. And I am using a 1/16 inch drill bit. That's this one. This is from, if I can get the glare off, this is from Drill America. So again, it's 1/16. I also forgot to mention when I was talking about embellishments, I have holes drilled in this one, so I'll show you. For example, let me zoom in here. So this is one I decided that I wanted to add an arrow through the heart. So I had drilled my hole to hang it by, and I also drilled a hole on either side for my arrow. So I actually have a couple here, and I'll show you how those work. So you can decide if you're going to drill a hole. You have all this planned ahead. So I have these available on my website. Looks like this. This has the little heart and arrow. So the finial comes off, and I drilled at this angle, so it would be kind of a shot through the heart look. So you need to, if you're going to do something like this, you need to decide where it's going to go through your heart. And you can see I marked it here so that I could find out where to drill it. So this does move around a little, and you can add a bead to these if you want. I have these available on my website, justjani.com. These are actually industrial piercing jewelry, but that's a big one. That is actually the biggest one, and you can see it fits nice on these big hearts. You can put it kind of anywhere you like. And then these are the same thing, just different design. So the little finial unscrews. Some of these get stuck. So you would put it through and screw your finial on. And then I have a heart and key. These do work on the small ones. Move this out of the way. They are a little bit bigger on the small ones, so I wouldn't want to go like too small down here or anything. Want to really make sure that you've got the widest point you can so that it fits nice. And let's see, this was the biggest one. This is a bit big for it, for the small heart. It does work. You can use it. You can add a bead on it or a charm if you want. But they do work. They're just a little bit big on that one. So again, I've got the arrow that has the heart on it. Kind of a heart, I guess. That works on the big ones best. And then the smaller, where is it? The regular arrow and the key with the heart, they fit either one, either the large or the small. Just depends on where you put it on there. So if you're going to use something like that, you also need to plan those holes to drill. So if you're going to hang from the top, I always just set it down right there so it's level, and I just either mark a dot or just grab my center punch and mark it. Just punch a hole before I drill it. Same thing if I were doing this side. I would hold it down here and do top center, just because I like mine to hang at that angle. If you want yours more upright, you need to drill further over. And then for these on the side, that's a matter of deciding where do you want it. So this one, I liked this angle because my top is here, so it's going to hang this direction, and this would fit through this way. So what I did was I held the piece of jewelry just above where I wanted it, and I marked it with a Sharpie, and then I used a ruler and made sure they lined up and marked it again. And then what I did was just eyeballing it. I know I want this. Make sure you're, I'm so busy talking, make sure you're able to see. You can see the line is lined up this way, so my hole needed to go here, so I marked that. And that's really the hardest part, is you're going to have to drill that at an angle. And I'm only drilling one side at a time. And excuse the dog. That's Bonita. She thinks nobody's home. Okay, so mark it. When I drill it, you can't hold it this way and drill because it's not going to go where you wanted it. You got to kind of get it at the angle you want. And I put a drop of my cutting oil and drill down. Also what I did was this mark, I came over here and I put a mark with my Sharpie so that I could see it, so that when I look here and I'm going to drill, I'm looking if the drill bit is in line with the dot that is underneath, and that helps me get the right angle. So once you have your first hole drilled, you can open this up, put it in, and make sure it lines up with your dot. If you're over here, you have two choices. You can either make your hole over here, or you can remount this hole a little better so that it will go the right way, or go to where you originally marked it. So once you make that decision, go ahead and mark that and drill your next hole. So mine was lined up with my mark, so I was good there. So what I did is I actually left my piece of jewelry in, and it only touched because there was no hole, and I could look through and see, because it kind of looks like it should be over here, but really when you're looking at it, your mark is kind of up here because we're drilling at an angle. So I made my mark and then went ahead and drilled this side. I do drill mine by hand. I have a drill press, but I bought one of the Harbor Freight ones a couple years ago, and the chuck is wobbly. If you have one of those and you have that problem, I think just about everybody who's bought one from Harbor Freight has had that problem. You need a new chuck. I have not bought one, so I'm drilling by hand. And I don't know if you can see that. Any old drill and a 1/16 inch bit. So go ahead and mark your pieces, drill them where you want them. If you're putting in a piece of body jewelry, prepare for that. Okay, for hanging your heart, this is just one of the ways that you can do it. I'm doing the big heart because I'm going to put a charm, and I don't have any small enough for my small hearts. So I'm going to show you how to hang a charm on here, just in case you haven't done it before. So I have my charm, an eye pin, that means it has a hole instead of a head on it like a nail, and a jump ring. So you twist your jump ring open, and you're going to put both your charm and your eye pin on there. And twist it back shut. I'm not sure how well that's focusing. If you want, you can slide a little bead on there or something, or on either side actually, so you can see it will hang like this. Now for the top, I have my just round nose pliers. So I want it fairly snug because I'm not putting a bead or anything. If I was, I would put the bead on first and then make my loop. So to make your loop so that you can hang this on a chain, make sure I'm straight here, and what I'm talking about is inside I want my eye pin this way. I don't know if you can see, because if it's sideways my charm will hang sideways. So if it's this way, my charm is going to hang this way. So I want it flat. I want it to be the same direction as the hole in the charm, both of them flat. Now it can turn in there after you're done, but I'm wanting it straight so that when I wrap this, I'm wrapping it the right way. So the necklace is going to go through another jump ring, or another jump ring that's going to go this direction. So that means we want ours to go this way so that our jump ring can go this way. Once you've done it, it'll make sense. So that means I'm going to keep my eye flat there. Make sure I'm snug. There we go. And I'm going to bend it over. It doesn't matter if you go left or right. I'm just bending it over. And then I'm going to bring my pliers to the top. So I was on the side, bent my wire over 90 degrees. Hang on, I just realized I'm not in focus here. You can see that any better. So I bent it 90 degrees. Okay, I have started putting my pendants together, and I thought I would just run through doing the wire for your little hanger again, just to make sure that that was clear. I did switch what I was using. I went to the bead and this little blingy spacer. Let me zoom in here. So I'm doing a bead, a spacer, and a bead on mine. You can see I have a couple finished here. So I'm going to stick it from the inside. Grab my round nose wubbers. So this is the part I just wanted to go over again, just in case you needed help following that one. So I'm starting right up close, touching, and just under halfway up the plier, because I don't want too big of a space. I only want to have about 3 wraps, 2 or 3. More than that, I think this one I might have got 4 there, and you can see it kind of sticks up more. So the idea is just a little. Okay, so first thing I do, maybe try and get it from your point of view, is I'm going to bend it away from me 90 degrees. You can see that. Okay, and then I'm basically just turning the pliers up and holding on to the top so it looks like this from your point of view. And I'm going to grab it and pull it forward towards me, just like that. So that's what it's going to look like facing you. Okay, now the top one, the top side is in the loop, right? Because that's how we're holding it. We're going to take that out and put the bottom side in. And just go up to where it fits. Tighten down on it. And now you're going to pull this around. We want it to be in line with the other one. So like, don't pull it out at an angle. Just straight in line with the other one, because we're making a loop there. Alright. Now, if you're right-handed like me, I'm going to switch hands. Grab just any little pliers here and grab the end, and we're going to wrap around that little post there 2 or 3 times. I apologize if this isn't well focused. I am having a hard time telling if it is or isn't. So grab that little tail and you're going to pull straight. If you pull down at an angle, your wrap is going to go down at an angle. We want them stacked straight on top of each other. So as straight as you can. I'm going to pull that around there. Don't worry about bending up this end. We're going to cut that little tail off anyway. So I've got 3 wraps there, but I do need a little bit of room to tuck in my tail. Oh, don't drop your pliers on your beads. They will go everywhere. Okay, now let's cut that tail off with your side cutters. I have to back mine up a little because it's in the way of this side, the side of the loop, so I can't cut flush. So I just backed it up a little bit so I could get on there. And sharp side cutters will be very helpful. Now for me, because my hand gets in the way and I want to get that little end, I just grab my round nose, put them back on there, something to hold on to. Just so that I can get my little pliers over here and squeeze that tail down. Don't want any sharp spots sticking out. I think that got it. Now look at your loop and your bottom. Make sure it's all in line. This one looks good. Some of them, just because of the way you're moving your hand, they will get kind of bent over. And you can just stand it back up straight. I still see a little smidge of that loop or that tail sticking out there. There. So then you're ready for your jump ring and your chain. For example, I have these two. Why, thank you, Gunner. Let's put Gunner outside.